Good evening, everyone.
Hey,
Looks like it's getting colder outside.
You think?
Good evening, Mayor.
Mayor, it's Janet.
Hey, Mayor.
Oh, I didn't see you there, but I did see the mayor, so I said hi to the mayor. Hi, Janet. Patrick?
Good evening, everybody.
Patrick, would Mr. Graybill be here tonight?
I'm not sure if Carl is presenting on that resolution, or now I'm seeing Mr. Campbell raising his hand. So I'm guessing he's probably going to be on for that resolution.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure in case there's any questions.
Carl did ask me, and I told him I wasn't expecting there to be a full presentation this evening. And I thought, just if there was any questions, and he said he would make himself available for that.
Okay.
Carl should be present for that. He should be coming.
Now, this is not a first reading tonight, is it?
Not for the resolution. No, we don't.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
All right, Chief, how are you? Trying to. You too.
Hey, good evening, all. My apologies for being late. Good stuff. Amber's here. I have Councilors Diaz, Arroyo, Soto, and Bekay. That makes 5 of us. So we are going to go ahead and start the meeting. Welcome, everybody, to the October 13th meeting of the Council of the City of Lancaster. Mr. Harris, would you please begin by calling the roll of members?
Yes, Mr. Arroyo.
Here.
Ms. Bekay.
Here.
Ms. Craig. Ms. Diaz.
Here.
Mr. Garcia Molina. Mr. Soto.
Here.
And President Smith Waddell.
Here. Councilors Craig and Garcia Molina are excused this evening. Everyone bear with me just a second. I am having the slightest touch of technical difficulty. All right. Approval of the minutes for September 22nd, 2020. Mr. Harris. No, I'm sorry. I'll accept a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Council comments? Hearing none. Mr. Harris.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. Arroyo.
Aye.
Ms. Bekay.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Soto.
Aye.
And President Smith Waddell.
Aye. All right. That brings us to proclamations, honors, awards, and resolutions of recognition. I believe first we have Ms. Strazo. Would you please add Ms. Carrasco to the meeting? So it's clear on the agenda, but I don't want to steal. I don't want to steal Millsy's thunder. I'm sorry. My apologies. Director Carrasco, would you like to proceed?
I would. Thank you so much for this opportunity. First off, I just want to let Amber know one of our awardees is having some issues entering the Zoom call and wanted to be present here, and as well as Zaira.
Okay. I don't see Zaira. You're saying she was having technical issues, or
Yes.
should be adding her?
Mhm.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so while we're waiting for that, what a great honor. This is the culmination of Hispanic Heritage Month. With so many things happening related to COVID, we really couldn't celebrate the wonderfulness and the richness of our community during this time. And after speaking with Mayor Sirachi, it was an opportunity to really highlight two incredible people in our community. There's so many, but we really talked about, as we were developing the Lifetime Achievement Award, who are the folks that have been really committed to the Hispanic community and have helped so many families in our community. So I wrote something here, so I'm going to read that while everyone comes in. So greeting Council President and Council members. With great honor, I have the privilege of bringing two awardees for Mayor Sirachi's first time ever Lifetime Achievement Award during Hispanic Heritage Month. The opportunity to highlight the next two people that have impacted the lives of so many families in the city of Lancaster is such an incredible privilege. And such a side note, when I was 12 years old was the first time that I actually met Carlos Guapera, which is one of our awardees this evening. And I remember volunteering for him at one of his fundraising dinners for SACA when SACA wasn't what it is today. And having the opportunity then to say, that's what I want to do in the future, is give back to the community. So he started like that impact in my life. And then to follow up with the second awardee, which is Father Alan Wolf, that has impacted my family spiritually, and as well as really allowed me to embrace the love for building community and working with the Hispanic community in the city of Lancaster. So that's what they did for me personally. There's thousands of families that they've impacted through their work. And I can't tell you how emotional and exciting it is for me to be here this evening to share this moment with them. That's it. It's your turn, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Millsy. And it is my honor to acknowledge this is our first time with a Lifetime Achievement Award. And this was something that I think was, in times of trials, there are silver linings, and there are many ways that we could not we have not been able to celebrate together as a community and come together as a community. And I think one of the things that we were all feeling is that Hispanic Heritage Month was passing us by so quickly, and we really wanted to think about this idea. And so we just, we ran with it. And I want to acknowledge the Office of Neighborhood Engagement and Millsy and Zaira, and obviously want to honor Carlos Guapera and Reverend Father Alan Wolf tonight. And many of you know them. And as Millsy said, they have impacted her family's life, but they've also impacted my life and many, many other families and individuals here in the city of Lancaster. So if you don't mind, is Father Wolf or Carlos in the Zoom call?
Yeah, Father Wolf is. We're still waiting.
Oh,
on
there
Father
he
Wolf.
is. Okay, I'm seeing you now, Father Wolf. And so I'm going to read this, and then Zaira is going to translate for us. And I will say that this is a bittersweet, Father Wolf, And I hope you got my voicemail message. But I just want to say that this is also coming, this honor is being bestowed on you also at a time of your transition and after 25 years of service. So let me read and then we'll talk. This proclamation of a Lifetime Achievement Award for Reverend Alan Wolf, October 13, 2020. Whereas Reverend Wolf has faithfully served as a priest and pastor in San Juan Bautista Catholic Church for nearly 25 years and at St. Joseph's Parish for 6 years. And whereas the people of Lancaster, under his leadership at San Juan Bautista, have had increased access to community resources through Plaza San Juan Bautista, a nonprofit youth and cultural center. And whereas Reverend Wolf has served at Sacred Heart of Jesus, Historic St. Mary's, and Lancaster Catholic High School during his time in Lancaster. And whereas Reverend Wolf, in both his life and service to the church, has dedicated decades to improving the quality of life for the Hispanic community of Lancaster City. And whereas Reverend Wolf is widely regarded among members of San Juan Bautista and the whole of the neighborhoods in the Southeast and the Southwest as a member of their own families for his trustworthiness and touching words of encouragement at the times when we most need them. And that last part is from me especially. So thank you, Thank you, Father Wolf. Now, therefore, I, Denise Sirachi, Mayor of the City of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, do hereby commend Reverend Alan Wolf for his longstanding commitments and tireless efforts in service to the City of Lancaster and to the higher purposes to which you are called, and declare Reverend Alan Wolf a recipient of our Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations. I wish that we had a sound machine for a rousing round of applause for you, Father. And so thank you very much. And we wish you nothing but success and and peace and community and where you are traveling next. And so if you want to take yourself off mute and say a few words, you are welcome to do so.
Please prompt me when I should read this in Spanish.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, Zaira. Please. I'm rushing ahead. Please.
Okay, thank you. Padre Wolf, nuestra alcalde Denise Sirachi nos habla de que esto es un momento muy especial y es un momento también dulce y amargo porque le estamos otorgando este reconocimiento en un momento en el que usted va a transicionar. Y entonces proseguimos a la lectura de la proclamación, de la acta de proclamación, en el cual se le entrega el premio del Lifetime Achievement Award al reverendo Alan Wolf este 13 de octubre del 2020. Por cuanto el reverendo Wolf ha servido fielmente como sacerdote y pastor en la Iglesia Católica San Juan Bautista durante casi 25 años en la parroquia St. Joseph durante 6 años. Y por cuanto la gente de Lancaster, bajo su liderazgo en San Juan Bautista, han tenido un mayor acceso a los recursos comunitarios a través de la Plaza San Juan Bautista, un centro cultural y juvenil sin fines de lucro. Y por cuanto el reverendo Wolf ha servido en Sacred Heart of Jesus, Historic St. Mary's, Lancaster Catholic High School durante su tiempo en Lancaster, y por cuanto el reverendo Wolf tanto en su vida como en su servicio a la iglesia, ha dedicado décadas a mejorar la calidad de vida de la comunidad hispana de la ciudad de Lancaster, y por cuanto el reverendo Wolf es ampliamente considerado entre los miembros de San Juan Bautista como un miembro de sus propias familias por su confiabilidad y conmovedoras palabras de aliento. Por lo tanto, yo, Denise Sirachi, alcaldesa de la ciudad de Lancaster, Pensilvania, galardono al reverendo Alan Wolf por su compromiso de larga trayectoria y su incansable esfuerzo en su servicio a la ciudad de Lancaster, y declaro al reverendo Alan Wolf un receptor de nuestro premio Lifetime Achievement Award. En testimonio de lo cual firmo la presente y hago que se coloque el sello de esta ciudad. Así lo otorga nuestra alcaldesa Danine Sorachi, de la ciudad de Lancaster. Un honor y una alegría haberlo conocido, Padre Wolf, y tener el honor de traducir este documento para usted y la audiencia.
Gracias. Gracias. Thank you, Mayor Sorachi and your team. Thank you to President Smith-Waddell and all of council. Thank you to the entire Latino community and to Lancaster. It's been a tremendous privilege and an honor to be living here and serving here in Lancaster for these 24 years in this awesome, awesome community. Congratulations also to the other recipient, Mr. Carlos Graupera. What an honor to be honored with him, such a highly esteemed member of our Lancaster and Latino community who served and brought so many blessings to the wider Latino community in Lancaster. And it's kind of ironic since we live across the street from each other on South Duke Street. So we're neighbors as well. I'm also particularly grateful to the bishops of the Diocese of Harrisburg, from Bishop Datillo, who assigned me here, to Bishop Rhodes, Bishop McFadden, and Bishop Gaynor for their trust in me to care for this community in these years. And to, of course, Father Pistoni, who prepared this community to be a community of such faith in the Lord Jesus and love for one another. So I've inherited a tremendous gift. I've been blessed in these 23 years at San Juan, and I'm a better man and a better priest because of my time here. Gracias. It's interesting. I jest with the people of San Juan. God definitely has a sense of humor. And I joke that 24 years ago, I could never have imagined staying as long as I have or experiencing the things I have in these 24 years in Lancaster and 23 years at San Juan Bautista. And God's sense of humor, which I could not have imagined, that he put a Polish wolf in charge of Latino sheep. And I'm better for it. Gracias, Alcalde Sorachi. Gracias, City Council. Gracias, Latinos de Lancaster.
Gracias, Father Wolf.
Thank you.
With your concurrence, President Smith-Waddell, I'll continue.
Please do.
All right, and we have Carlos joining us. Thank you. So tonight, our second Lifetime Achievement Award is for Carlos Graupera, and this proclamation honoring him this day, October 13th, 2020. Whereas Carlos Graupera has served in Lancaster City as founder and president for the Spanish American Civic Association since 1973, and whereas the Spanish American Civic Association under his leadership has created a civic infrastructure to help integrate Hispanic families into the social and economic fabric of Lancaster. And whereas the Spanish American Civic Association has resulted in workforce development opportunities and community resources, including Tech Centro, La Academia, Partnership Charter School, Radio Centro, and Telecentro. And whereas Carlos Graupera and his beloved wife, Rosa, both in their life and service, have dedicated decades of their lives to improving the quality of life for the Hispanic community of Lancaster. And whereas Carlos Graupera has helped nearly 8,000 individuals annually through the bilingual services of the Spanish American Civic Association. Now, therefore, I, Danine Sorachi, Mayor of the City of Lancaster, do hereby commend Carlos Graupera for his longstanding commitments and tireless efforts in his service to the City of Lancaster, and declare Carlos Graupera a recipient of our Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations, Carlos, and I will turn it over to Zaira for our translation.
Thank you, Mayor Sorachi. Proclamación. Lifetime Achievement Award para Carlos Graupera. 13 de octubre del 2020. Por cuanto que Carlos Graupera se ha desempeñado en la ciudad de Lancaster como un fundador y presidente de la Asociación Cívica Hispanoamericana desde el 1973. Y por cuanto que la Asociación Cívica Hispanoamericana, bajo su liderazgo, ha creado una infraestructura cívica para ayudar a integrar a las familias hispanas en el tejido social y económico de Lancaster. Y por cuanto que la Asociación Cívica Hispanoamericana ha dado como resultado oportunidades de desarrollo en la fuerza laboral y recursos comunitarios que incluyen Tech Centro, la Academia Partnership Charter School, Radio Centro y Telecentro. Y por cuanto que Carlos Graupera y su amada esposa Rosa, tanto en su vida como en su servicio, han dedicado décadas de sus vidas a mejorar la calidad de vida de la comunidad hispana de Lancaster. Y por cuanto que Carlos Graupera ha ayudado a casi 8,000 personas anualmente a través de los servicios bilingües de la Asociación Cívica Hispanoamericana. Por lo tanto, yo, Danine Sorachi, alcaldesa de la ciudad de Lancaster, Pensilvania, galardono a Carlos Graupera por su compromiso de larga trayectoria y su incansable esfuerzo en su servicio a la ciudad de Lancaster. Y declaro a Carlos Graupera un receptor de nuestro Lifetime Achievement Award, en testimonio de lo cual firmo la presente y hago que se coloque el sello de esta ciudad. Así lo otorga nuestro alcalde Danine Sorachi de Lancaster, Pensilvania. Thank you, Mayor Sorachi, and thank you everyone for the opportunity.
Thank you, Zaira. And Carlos, you're welcome to say a few words, please. Oh, you're on mute.
Which is probably a good idea to be muted. This is really difficult to accept an award like this because I haven't really done anything by myself. So many people have helped to build up this community as it is. So if you don't mind, I'll accept it on behalf of as a reflection of the work that the Latino community has done to lift itself up, to empower itself. And you said one thing very correctly, that Rosa was in there all those years with me because I would be lost without her wisdom and guidance and regaños every now and then. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members of council. I'll accept it proudly if it is a reconocimiento de la lucha de nuestra comunidad, of the effort of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you.
If I make a comment, Council President, or are we?
Of course, Councilor Arroyo, please.
Awesome. I just wanted to say, congratulations to both Father Wolf and Mr. Guapera. You both, whether you know it or not, have been a huge influence on my life. I remember when Father Wolf first came to San Juan Bautista, and even 20 years ago, proceeded over my confirmation when I received that sacrament. So huge impact in the community. And Mr. Guapera, a role model in the community development aspect, and really shows how to lead with humility as well as doing the work. And, I wouldn't be where I'm at today without folks like both of you who have had a tremendous impact in the Latino community. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And, I also extend a thank you from my own family who have benefited greatly from the services that you both provide to the organizations and the church that you both help build in our community. So just wanted to express my gratitude personally. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaime.
All right. Thank you to both Father Wolf and to Mr. Guapera. Father Wolf was my parish priest for a time when I was younger, and my first real job out of college was working for SACA, under Carlos Guapera. So I think I have both of them to thank, at least in part, for where I am today. And so well-deserved, gentlemen, and thank you for being with us this evening.
Could I also say that I'm so sad to lose my neighbor on South Duke Street, Padre. It won't be the same. That block will just not be the same anymore.
Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate that. It's a sadness for me too, but Bishop is sending, and the Lord is sending, a very good pastor to take care of San Juan, who is only a year younger, but he has lots of energy.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
With that, we're going to proceed to Council Resolution number 47, 2020. Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris, you're muted.
Yes, Mr. President. A resolution of the Council of the City of Lancaster recognizing and commending the efforts of the Eviction Prevention Network to help keep families in their homes who are struggling with financial difficulties due to the pandemic, and affirming housing as a basic human right.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and a second. I asked for this, or introduced this resolution specifically both to recognize the work of many of our community partners within the Eviction Prevention Network, as well as the city's financial contributions to the network, but also to highlight that the Eviction Prevention Network exists at this time to do exactly that by providing counseling to tenants, as well as helping people to pay for rental arrears, which we know in this time of COVID, of lost employment and confusing and expiring eviction moratoria, is as important as ever. And also, just if anybody's watching this, to ask them to, if they are in a situation where they are facing an eviction, to please get in touch with the Eviction Prevention Network. And if you are a landlord who has a tenant in arrears, that you can also be in touch with the Eviction Prevention Network. And you can do that through 211 or through LHOP or Tabor, or if you're in that part of the county, through Echoes. So if there are other council comments, now's a great time. All right. Any from the public? I'll pause here for a few seconds. Hearing none. Mr. Harris.
Mr. Arroyo.
Aye.
Ms. Beke.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Soto.
Aye.
And President Smith-Waydell.
Aye. All right, that moves us along to Council Resolution number 49, 2020. Mr. Harris.
Yes, Mr. President. A resolution of the Council of the City of Lancaster recognizing October 2020 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer History Month, and encouraging all people of the City of Lancaster to work to advance the cause of equality and towards achieving a safe community that appreciates its diversity in all of its forms.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is very similar to the resolution that we introduced last year, recognizing LGBTQ plus or LGBTQIA History Month. And I think at this moment, recognizing the particular challenges of our country and culture, socially and politically, that it's important to recognize this directly. So I thank City Clerk, Mr. Harris, for helping prepare the resolution, and hopefully other members of council for their support as they supported it last year. Things like this do fall into the realm of symbolism, but I think that symbols are important, and it's important that our city government not only recognize these things but treat these resolutions as a commitment to do everything that we can to protect the rights and advance the interests of the LGBTQ plus community. End of pitch.
Mr. President, if I may say a word.
Of course, Councilor Beke.
Thank you. I appreciate you introducing this resolution this evening. And as you said, these resolutions could, in some ways, be considered a symbolic gesture. But I believe it's really important that we reaffirm this time and time again, that the city of Lancaster is a welcoming place for all people, and that includes the LGBTQ plus community. And while we may feel secure in saying that, it's important to remember that that people in that community are under attack nationally, continue to be, and their rights are not guaranteed to them, and they need to fight for that all the time. So I believe that this is important to reaffirm that commitment as a community, and just underscore how important that it is nationally that we also reaffirm that commitment.
Thank you, Councilor Beke. Any other council comments? From the public? Hearing none. Mr. Harris.
Mr. Roya.
Aye.
Ms. Beke.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Soto.
Aye.
And President Smith-Waddell.
Aye. All right, that brings us to our first public comment period, reserved for those persons who have contacted the city clerk prior to the meeting to request the opportunity to address city council. As always, the duration of comments is limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that people, of course, be respectful in their comments. Mr. Harris, do we have anybody who's called ahead or contacted ahead to speak this evening?
We do, Mr. President. We have two. First, we have Kayla Hala.
All right. Kayla, if you are on the meeting, if you would please raise your hand to be added to the meeting to make your comment. Well, we can come back to Kayla if she joins the meeting during the public comment period. Mr. Harris, do we have any others?
Yes, Mr. President. Next is Alicia Kimmett.
All right, Miss Alicia Kimmett, if you are on the meeting, if you would please click the raise hand button to be added to the meeting to make your comment. All right, Mr. Harris, do we have any others?
We do not, Mr. President.
All right. We will then move on to the reports requested by council. It's my understanding that the Community Police Working Group presentation will be given at the second council meeting in October, bringing us to the Public Works Department overview. Is that correct, Mr. Harris?
Yes, Mr. President.
All right, Mr. Campbell.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be able to make this presentation about the Department of Public Works. It's long overdue. As you know, I've been here now for about 9 months, 7 months of which have been in lockdown while we're trying to manage the operations of the city. But I'm very pleased to be able to make this presentation of what we're doing and how we have transformed ourselves. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
We are, Mr. Campbell.
Okay. So I'm going to just launch into it. As I said, thank you again. This is just kind of a summary. We're 3/4 of the way through the year, so it's not necessarily full or complete data. The Public Works Department is funded by a variety of different general funds, and this is just a picture of some of the people that you and everyone else will see in their neighborhood performing the works of public works, streets, fleet, traffic, management of the stormwater, wastewater operations, water, and solid waste recycling. This is not a budget meeting, but I just wanted to let people see that our budget is about $67.5 million. A little bit less than half of that goes to the water utility. 29% of that is sewer, and the remaining 25% is divided amongst the solid waste, general fund, and stormwater. And the general fund is the thing that funds most of the things that you see in the streets and in the sidewalks of the city of Lancaster. The reorganization has had much to do with making a practical set of changes and realignment so that there could be greater clarity about what we do and how we do it. We've created 4 divisions within the department, one being the public right-of-way, which people would have understood in the past as the engineer. The city engineer's office is in the public right-of-way. This is the arena that determines what you see and how you experience the streets, sidewalks, parks, etc. of the city of Lancaster. The construction and operations division brings a lot of the other sub-bureaus together. So the Parks Bureau and the Facilities Bureau have been brought together as Parks and Public Property. Streets, Traffic, and Fleet, most people are familiar with. Solid Waste, people are familiar with. And then the construction is the construction, implementation, and management of our infrastructure, both vertical, which are the buildings and the parks, and horizontal infrastructure, which is the wastewater and water infrastructure. The utilities are together as a single division, which is water and wastewater. And last, but certainly not least, the bureau that we've understood as stormwater has been expanded to be the sustainability and environment, so that it is how we as the city of Lancaster integrate in the natural environment in which we find ourselves. So the public right-of-way being the division of how we experience the city, just wanted to give a couple of highlights of what has happened in 2020 and where we're going. In the public right-of-way, we have initiated the Vision Zero plan, and hopefully in November, you will be reviewing that plan and hopefully adopting that. We are in the midst of public comment period right now. Safe Streets, bike plan, and several of the bikeways, Water Street, Christian Street, and the Northeast Greenway connecting Walnut to Conestoga Pines, as well as initiating the South Duke Street upgrade, which is a major thoroughfare in Southeast. Other accomplishments include the kicking off of Phase 2 of Culleton Park. I'll speak to Phase 1 in a moment. The design of the Ewell Plaza, and the public dining and retail during the COVID pandemic. We put together the regulations and supported the ways of allowing retailers and restaurant establishments to open during COVID. Some of our goals for next year include the projects that might be the outcome of the Vision Zero initiative, being able to actually design and execute the South Duke Street initiative, finalize Ewell Plaza construction, initiate a parks master plan. So the completion of Coolidge Park basically ends the last 8 or so year cycle of a master plan effort, and it's time to start the next one, responding to the needs of each community and each neighborhood, and continue the implementation of the bike plan. Construction and operations is the division that builds and maintains the public infrastructure. And as I described, it has parks and public properties, which are facilities and parks, operations, which are many of the street elements, the solid waste and recycling, as well as the capital improvement program, both large and small in construction. Parks and properties accomplishments in 2020 include the completion of Coolidge Park, where we're hopefully within the next few weeks being able to have a ribbon cutting for Coolidge Park. It happened on or slightly ahead of schedule, even during the COVID pandemic. The West King Fire Station has started construction. Christian Street Pedestrian Bike Boulevard north of Chestnut Street was completed. We have 195 Adopt-A-Block participants, and we've planted 68 trees, 71 de-stumped, and 478 pruned so far this year. Under operations, we have opened our new operations center at 225 Riverside Avenue, which consolidated the parks, streets, facilities, traffic, and motor vehicles bureaus. At that location, there's a gas and diesel fueling station, which allows us to acquire bulk fuel purchases for cost control and increased resiliency, especially in the event of emergency. And at our Oyster Point property, we have a DEP permitted clean fill facility, so that when we have excavation materials, we can avoid the $65 to $80 per load fees that we pay at other facilities. Under operations C&O streets, we are nearly 90% complete with the ADA curb ramps, which you see throughout the city. This is in response to a consent decree need. There are pedestrian efforts, the pedestrian bridge rehab connecting Walnut Street to Conestoga Water Plant. There's the PPL street light buyback, which once that is consummated in early 2021 will allow us incredible electrical financial savings, traffic signals upgraded throughout the system, and our ongoing street improvement program, which is the paving program throughout the city. Major capital improvements in 2020 include the large diameter transmission main, and the initiation of the large diameter will be completed in early 2022, and the South Tank elevated water storage, which commenced within the last month or so and will be completed in about 30 months. These are huge infrastructure increases that allow for greater capacity and better service to all of our customers. The meters upgrade program, we have approximately 96% of the meters installed, which allows that for remote reading technology and accurate reading rather than the estimated billings that we've done in the past. It will allow for automatically collecting meter data and a better management of the entire water system. We have also begun self-performing more of our work rather than contracting out. This provides significant savings to the cost of doing business and increases the pride of the staff that is doing and building the city of Lancaster. So many of our trench restorations for water and sewer are done by our own staff, and even at Coolidge Park, the sidewalk, tree work, fencing, and painting work were self-performed. We were able to self-perform because one of the challenges that we had was with COVID, we were threatened with having to furlough people, And this was a way to not only cut our costs, but to hold on to our people. So in the face of COVID, DPW did not furlough any staff during this crisis. Our response during the crisis also includes custodial teams that do deep cleaning throughout the city, wherever they're needed, wherever COVID arises, a number of facility retrofits so that customers and staff can remain safe. We've secured plenty of PPE for first responders and essential workers as we continue to go through this crisis. And we, of course, supported the public dining and retail, implementing at least 2 public dining locations and supported as necessary. Under solid waste and recycling, we have just contracted with Penn Waste again for a 5-year hauling contract where we have, which one of the things that's very innovative here is that we have incentives for high performance and for reduction in missed and late pickups. It's a groundbreaking way of looking at this particular industry. Our recycling center continues to generate revenue, and we, even in the pandemic, have over 850 cars per week arriving at the recycling facility, and we have a pilot program for bins and street cleaning in one of our communities in Southeast. Key goals for construction and operations in 2021 is cross-training, to continue the cross-training and to be able to build the strength of our internal forces and use more of our own forces. We estimate very conservatively that with just these 2 lines of self-performing at trench paving and self-performing in collections and T&D, we can be saving around $800,000 very conservatively. If we increase our capacity, we're talking about real money. And if we look at the fact that the city of Lancaster has a structural deficit of $3 million, it is my passion to be able to go quite far in alleviating, if not bridging, that entire gap. Facility condition assessments, and then also the Groff's Run daylighting and restoration project, as well as in the middle of 2021, East King Fire Station will start after West King is completed and the South Tank construction will continue. Sustainability in the environment, stormwater, is Lancaster's role in the natural environment. And over 2020, we have performed thousands of inspections and testing related to the consent decree. The urban forest management plan is something that you'll be hearing about shortly in tonight's meeting, and we're hoping that that will be approved by the council. And we have the public participation plan for the consent decree, utilizing our public participation platform, Citizen Lab, which is now called Engage Lancaster. The goals for S&E into the future are green infrastructure projects in partnership with planned capital projects, implementing the urban tree management plan, improved GI maintenance, and working with the Little Conestoga Creek Foundation for the design of that corridor project. Under utilities, water and wastewater, the primary goal is clean water and responsible management of the wastewater. Our advanced wastewater treatment plant has the capacity of dealing with 32 million gallons of wastewater per day, and 20 million gallons per day is currently treated daily and discharged into the Conestoga River. We also manage the response to the consent decree and the development of the long-term control plan related to all aspects of that consent decree. Some of our key accomplishments in wastewater include, again, increasing the capacity and the infrastructure, but it's a $6 million biological nutrient removal. And we've just bid the following projects: Ingleside Combined Sewer, Maple Grove Interceptor, and Eden Manor Interceptor, as well as having continued operations uninterrupted during COVID, even though we had a number of opportunities where we might have had challenges. Our key goals in 2021 for wastewater are to start the construction of those 3 projects that have just been bid, and to continue the design of our second clarifier, and improve the water quality modeling, and continue to engage with the consent decree in terms of the alternative analyses, which is an opportunity for working very closely with the communities and the citizenry of the city of Lancaster in the development of what those alternatives are. And certainly last but not least, water. We have 2 water treatment plants, the Conestoga at Conestoga Pines and Susquehanna approaching Columbia in Lancaster County, and the meter shop delivering drinking water to the residents. Again, 20 million gallons per day is produced at Conestoga and Susquehanna. It's some of the best water in the state, and our water is withdrawn utilizing modern membrane treatment technology. Accomplishments in 2020 include the meter upgrades, the large diameter project, the Bousman area asbestos cement water mains. This is an effort that we have to try to rebuild some of our old and antiquated infrastructure and get ahead of the water main breaks that plague the city often. And so we want to be much more aggressive as time goes by. The south tank has broken ground and emergency generators that support both of the water treatment plants. Water goals are completing the large diameter project. South tank construction will continue. Complete to finish off the automated water meter project. And we're contemplating adding leak detection to the system, as a huge amount of our water is actually lost to leaks throughout the system. As far as the future of DPW, when we get into the budget season in the next couple of months, we'll be talking with you more about these items, but some of these are our key goals. Vision Zero projects and implementation, again, training and continued cross-training, establishing a hard and fast 2-year cycle for Public Utility Commission rate requests, which would significantly improve the cash flow to the utilities, initiate that Parks Master Plan, continue to support the Solid Waste Bureau as a profit sector for the city, and implement the Urban Tree Management Plan if the council is so moved to approve it this evening. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Council, do you have any questions for Mr. Campbell after his presentation?
I do, Mr. President. Just one question, if I may.
Go ahead, please.
In regards to the water tower that is being put up, is that going to affect any water pressure to the residents?
It will improve the water pressure for the residents in that area once it is completed. It has been engineered to address some of the weaknesses in water pressure, not so much that exists now, although some do exist, but to ensure that with increased capacity, it will have appropriate water pressure as well.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. And I also would like to say thank you so much for the presentation. I think it's very good I'm more visual, so this was very good to see.
I know that it's often complicated stuff, and I do want it to be familiar to all of you because it is nuts and bolts and the foundation of the city.
Mr. President, I have a question for Mr. Campbell, if I may.
Go ahead, Councilor Baker.
The reorganization of the department, can you speak a little bit about how that's affecting our employees? Is it creating additional supervisors, taking away supervisor positions, keeping them level, that sort of thing?
It's a very good question. It's a little bit of a mixture. For the most part, it allows us to, on the one hand, reduce the numbers of supervisors, but to empower more of the people at the middle levels. It has, in construction, for instance, by combining operations and construction, we had to do 2 things. The operations division, which had been led by a single individual, had all of the parks operation as well as all of the streets and fleet maintenance operation. By putting parks into the facilities piece, it's a more conventional buildings and grounds operation. And if we need something going on at a structure in a park or in the grounds related to one of our public facilities, we're going to the same people to manage those things. It also provides opportunities for further advancement because we are able to think a little bit differently, if I can say it that way, about each of these responsibilities. And we're encouraging and incentivizing people to give us ideas about how best to do some of the work that they are on the front lines doing already. I believe that although for a while we've had a difficult morale problem, I think most people are rather excited about this transformation, partly because there are more opportunities for people to advance. We are supporting them in providing training opportunities and making more positions as positions become available. We're targeting our own staff and targeting city residents to fill those positions rather than generally going to the wider universe. I want DPW, when we're talking about one good job, I'm wanting DPW to be thought of as one good career.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. I appreciate that.
If I may, Council President?
Of course.
Yeah. First of all, Mr. Campbell, just want to thank you for the presentation. I thought it was very informative and more of a comment than anything, but just thank you for your team's hard work during this time, especially during 2020 and the year of the pandemic. But I think a lot of the work that happens behind the scenes for our city and the way people experience our city really come down to your department and the work that you guys do. So just want to thank you for that. And, you know, I've heard Mayor Sirachi say this plenty of times, but it takes a lot of work to guarantee that when someone turns on their water, that water comes out. So just thank you for that. And I won't propose running lanes just yet. I'll wait till we get some of these other things underway first. So thanks again for the presentation and the work you do.
Well, thank you. I inherited a very, very strong team and a tremendously dedicated team to the citizens and to the neighborhoods of Lancaster. So I appreciate that it is appreciated.
Council President, may I?
Councilor Soto, please.
Mr. Campbell, thank you very much for your very revealing presentation. I did have some questions, but they got asked before I got a chance to, and you've already answered them. But I just want to say thank you, and I look forward to working with you on a lot of these projects.
I very much look forward to that as well. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
All right, Councilor Soto. Okay. Thank you again, Mr. Campbell, for that thorough presentation. Oops, my video is off. And we look forward to what other developments we're going to see from you and the rest of the Department of Public Works, whose staff I also want to publicly thank on behalf of City Council.
Very good. Thank you very much. You'll see some of that later on this evening.
Can't wait. All right. I believe that brings us to the reports of committees of council meetings held on October 5th, 2020. We are beginning with the, you'll forgive me, we're beginning with the Public Safety Committee, and Councilor Garcia Molina is excused this evening, as I mentioned at the top of the meeting, so I will briefly read off the minutes from that meeting. Hold on just a second. Actually, I'm not entirely sure. Someone correct me, and maybe I'm looking at the wrong minutes. I don't believe the Public Safety Committee met. Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
You are correct.
You're correct, Council President.
Okay, great. Then we'll move right to Public Works. Councilor Soto.
Thank you, Council President. The Public Works Committee did meet on October 5th. There was 4 items on the agenda. First item, resolution number 48, 2020, adopting the Trees for People's Urban Tree Management Plan. Environmental planner Carl Gabriel said the development of the Trees for People plan began 2 years ago. The plan identifies the strengths, weaknesses of the city's tree program and provides guidance to make improvements. The plan seeks to plant more trees, maintain protective existing trees, educate the public about the benefits of trees and manage the city's urban forest. One of those recommendations is to create a full-time position for a certified urban forest administrator to oversee the tree program. Additionally, the plan calls for the establishment of procedures for enforcement of tree regulations, conducting an inventory and assessment of the city trees, canopy, developing neighborhood focused outreach and education initiatives, and prioritize tree planting in areas of the city with minimal canopy cover. That trees provide an economic benefit with the increase in property values on a tree-lined street, environmental benefits with improved water and air quality, and increased biodiversity and social benefits that trees make in neighborhoods more desirable, healthier, safe places to live. He cited figures showing that 8,761 trees recorded in the city's 2010 tree inventory have a total value of $3.8 million for stormwater they capture, pollution they eliminate, and energy they save. Per capita, that value equates to 63.88% in residents. He noted the city ordinances have been reviewed to determine if any changes are needed to advance the tree management plan. He further noted that the last update of the street trees ordinance was in 2014, and it will need to be updated as the guidelines in the plan. That's all I have on that one for now. There'll be more discussion on it as it comes up on the agenda. Next item would be Resolution 50-2020, authorizing the acquisition of land from PennDOT to allow area for the Northeast Gateway Trail. Mr. Campbell states that property to be acquired from PennDOT is along East Walnut Street, south of the Amtrak rail line, and on the west side of the Conestoga River. The 1.2 acre tract will allow connection of the Northeast Greenway Trail with the Greater Lancaster Heritage Pathway Trail. The city would acquire the property for $1. This resolution authorizes the mayor to complete the purchase. And following again, administration number 51, an application for the municipal program grant application for the Plum Street Roundabout project. Consideration of the grant is for $346,950. Will be used to construct a roundabout at Plum and New Streets and Park Avenue. The roundabout was painted on the surface of the road cone put in place to mark the experimental roundabout at that location nearly a year ago. The roundabout was successful in reducing traffic, speeding, and accidents in that intersection. Complaints about the roundabout were from motorists who now must drive around slowly, he said. This grant will allow the construction of a curved roundabout in the street. The cost of the construction is expected to be about $500,000. The grant will be paid for by engineering and design work, as well as curbing the surrounding streets. Completion of the project is expected to last 12 to 16 months after the grant is received. That's all I have from Public Works Committee. Again, there'll be more on each item as it comes up on the agenda. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you very much, Councilor Soto. Economic Development, Councilor Arroyo.
Sorry about that. Council President, Economic Development Committee did not meet last committee meeting.
Thank you. Finance Committee, Councilor Bakay.
Thank you. Excuse me, the Finance Committee met on Monday, October 5th, and our single agenda item was a presentation from the Executive and Development Directors of the Lancaster Public Library. The library does receive funding from the city, and so they reported on their activities over the past year. That included how the library was impacted by COVID-19, how they provide, how they pivoted to continue providing services and expanded their online offerings. Highlights of the presentation included that they had over 300,000 materials borrowed in 2020, and the year is not even over yet. It also showcased the funding model for the library and showed the way that it significantly differs from that of the library system of Lancaster County. The Lancaster Public Library consistently ranks among the highest levels in the state for services provided, but in the lowest rankings of dollars received from local revenue. We will hear more about their ask for the 2021 budget as that becomes available. There was no action taken at the committee meeting that evening. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Beke. Community planning, Councilor Arroyo, can you report on the Community Planning Committee?
Yes, Mr. President. Yeah, so the Community Planning Committee did meet during the last session. We had a lengthy agenda. The first was the comprehensive planning process update, where Director Delfs gave an overview of the update regarding the comprehensive plan and where they are at with the process. The agenda included an overview of the plan, what work has been done to date, and then what are some of the next steps. Just a reminder as far as what is a comprehensive plan, a plan that reflects a community's consensus about the direction for the future growth and community development in our city over the next 20 years. A few of us, or me specifically, did make a note that we would like to think about the next 5 to 10 years, seeing how fast things are changing. But as we concluded the update, some of the important next steps that the department will be taking on is pursuing additional funding to complete the plan, finalizing a facilitator to help organize the plan, issuing an RFP for a primary consultant, housing study by the EDC, preparing communications campaign, submitting a P4P grant, and then formalizing a DEI strategy, which will also be encompassed in the comprehensive plan as well. The next thing that we discussed on our agenda is we received a Welcoming City initiative update from the Office of Neighborhood Engagement, where our City Language Access Coordinator, Zaida, gave an excellent presentation around the efforts on achieving the Welcoming City initiative, which began back in April of 2019 with the adoption of a language access plan. She talked about the expansion of that plan and how it's been incorporated within the different departments that helps the experience and the navigation around access for many of our citizens in our city. The next items on the agenda that we discussed was around the subdivision and land development ordinance, as well as fees for the subdivision and land planning review, which I believe we'll be discussing at our next council meeting in more detail. But overall, just talking about some new enhancements for developers to consider for future development, as well as aligning more of our fees to cover the costs that the city spends when working with development projects. That is the conclusion of my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Arroyo. And that takes us to Personnel Committee, Councilor Diaz. Councilor Diaz, you're muted.
Yes, the committee met on September 2nd, and we have a few appointments. George E. Graupera will be serving the Lancaster Municipal Authority from October 13, 20 to December 31st, 2025. James Cunningham will be serving at Lancaster Airport Authority December 31st, 2020 to December 31st, 2025. Jose Colon, he will be appointed to the Lancaster City Planning Commission, and that will be, it does not give me an actual date. the term ends on December 31st, 2024. We also have an appointment for Lancaster Municipal Authority for John Mulnick for 5 years, October 13, 2020 to December 31st, 2025. He will be replacing Richard B. Nisley. And then the next are all reappointments to the Board of Plumbing Examiners. That's Stephen Schwang, I guess that would be Schwanger, Chad Walnut, Daniel Muser, Barry L. Schreider, which is the president, and their terms will be September 12, 20 to September 12, 21. And if there is no objection, I'd like for the vote to be all one slate at one time, if no one objects to that.
Ms. Diaz, there is one more. Sean Way.
Where is that? Sean Way.
For appointment to the Board of Plumbing Examiners for a 1-year term from October 6, 2020 to September 12th, 2021.
Thank you, Bernie, because I don't have that one, but thank you. So motion for the appointment then.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Council comments from the public. Hearing none. Mr. Harris.
And just a clarification, that's for Carlos Corpera to the Lancaster Municipal Authority. Mr. Arroyo.
Aye.
Ms. Beke?
Aye.
Ms. Diaz?
Aye.
Mr. Soto?
Aye.
And President Smith-Waddell?
Aye.
And that concludes the Personnel Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Diaz. So that moves us into our legislative agenda. First thing, we are considering historic district applications and recommendations. Mr. Harris?
Yes, Mr. President. Considering the following applications and recommendations from the Historical Architectural Review Board for improvements to properties within the historic district. And we have one tonight from Esch Custom Homes, owner of 535 to 537 Church Street, and they request construction of the building's ground floor storefront. And that application was recommended for approval by the Historical Architectural Review Board.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Council comments. From the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Arroyo.
Aye.
Ms. Beke?
Aye.
Ms. Diaz?
Aye.
Mr. Soto?
Aye.
And President Smith-Waddell?
Aye. All right, that takes us to ordinances for final passage. Administration Bill number 11, 2020. Mr. Harris.
Yes, Mr. President. An ordinance authorizing the incurrence of lease rental debt in the maximum aggregate amount of $20 million in connection with the guarantee by the city of the guaranteed parking revenue bonds being issued by the Parking Authority of the City of Lancaster, and authorizing the officials of the City of Lancaster to take all appropriate action in connection therewith. The title, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. I'll hear a motion.
Approve.
I have a motion to amend as follows, if I may, Mr. President.
You may, Councilor Beke.
Please don't judge by my paper in front of me. Bond counsel has provided each of us with a black line version of the ordinance authorizing the incurrence of lease rental debt in the maximum principal amount of $24 million in connection with the guarantee by the city of the guaranteed parking revenue bonds being issued by the Parking Authority of the City of Lancaster. Such ordinance was introduced as Administrative Bill number 11, 2020 before council on September 22nd, 2020. I hereby move to amend the ordinance bill labeled 11, 2020, include the additions, deletions, and other changes referenced on such black line version of the ordinance, which will be reworded with the minutes of this meeting and which will be summarized as follows. In the heading, to insert the administration ordinance number and the administration bill number. In the third line of the heading, changing the maximum principal amount of bonds to be issued from 20 million to 24 million. In the second line of the fifth whereas paragraph, changing the maximum principal amount of bonds to be issued from 20 million to 24 million. In the third line of the first paragraph of section 2, changing the maximum principal amount of bonds to be issued from 20 million to 24 million. And the third line of the second paragraph of section 2, changing the maximum principal amount of bonds to be issued from 20 million to 24 million. And on schedule 1, inserting the maximum annual amounts payable under the guarantee agreement. My motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the amendment. Council comments on the amendment. Public comments on the, oh, did I? All right. Public comments on the amendment. Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Roya,
Aye.
Ms. Beke,
Aye.
Ms. Diaz,
Aye.
Mr. Soto,
Aye.
and President Smith-Waddell.
Aye. All right, so now a motion to approve Administration Bill number 11, 2020 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Council comments on the bill as amended. Public comments on the bill as amended. Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Roya,
Aye.
Ms. Beke,
Aye.
Ms. Diaz,
Aye.
Mr. Soto,
Aye.
and President Smith-Waddell.
Aye. All right, that moves us to resolutions, beginning with Administration Resolution number 48, 2020.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Lancaster, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, accepting and adopting the Trees for People, an action plan for Lancaster's urban forest, affirming the invaluable role trees play in the lives of all Lancaster residents and the benefits to the health and welfare of all life.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Councilor Soto.
I really don't have any much more to add unless Mr. Graybill or Mr. Campbell want to add any comments.
I just would like to say thank you for entertaining this motion.
And I do want to reinforce that it is a key element in how we understand and experience the city of Lancaster. Some of the recommendations we have been already able to take seriously. We have identified someone within our own staff who actually has an urban forestry background who may be able to be promoted into that position that is recommended by this piece. And we are looking differently at how we might be asking for funding or trying to support the ability to increase the urban tree canopy. As it is noted, the urban tree canopy has stayed at about 28% and possibly has lost a little bit over the last number of years. And we want our target to be 40% urban tree canopy. So there's a long way to go, but trees are health giving. They provide a cleaner air. a better environment, better property values. They do a host of good things, not the least of which, perhaps the most of which being how much water they absorb in terms of stormwater management.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. And thanks, Mr. Graybill. That's all we have, Mr. President.
All right. Any council comments?
May I?
Councilor Diaz.
I would like to say thank you again, Mr. Campbell, and also Carl. I'm a love of trees. I think it is something that we definitely need to survive. We need the oxygen. It's beautiful in the summer when they blossom, and I do not like when the leaves go away because then we know winter's coming. But hopefully we can get more people to plant some more trees in their houses, and maybe the cemeteries will consider making a forest in their little establishment.
Very good. We look for the same.
Any other council comments? Any other comments from the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Royo,
Aye.
Ms. Baker,
Aye.
Ms. Diaz,
Aye, sorry about that.
Mr. Soto,
Aye.
and President Smith-Waddell.
Aye. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. That brings us to resolution number 50, 2020. Mr. Harris.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Lancaster approving a project related to the connection of the Northeast Greenway Trail to the Conestoga Pines Park and authorizing the mayor and all other appropriate officials of the City of Lancaster to execute agreements of sale, such other documents as are required by the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation to complete the project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Council comments. Or, I'm sorry, Mr. Campbell, maybe you'd like to do a little.
Just very, very briefly, as Councilmember Soto had already described from the last committee meeting, this is a key piece of property that allows us to connect a portion of Walnut Street to the Conestoga Trail, the Northeast Greenway Trail, which is the trail that takes us across the Conestoga near Conestoga Pines near the waterworks. It's a piece of property that's 1.21 acres in size, and we're getting it for the princely sum of $1. So being able to execute this contract to get this key pivotal piece of property is an incredible bargain at any way you look at it. It's also instrumental in work that is getting started already, which is the restoration of the bridge that is the pedestrian and bike pathway across the river. And this is just kind of the last piece of property to make that this connector possible.
Okay. Any other council comments? Or council comments in the first place? Thank you for your work on this, Mr. Campbell. Are there any comments from the public on this resolution? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Harris.
Mr. Royo,
Aye.
Ms. Baker,
Aye.
Ms. Diaz,
Aye.
Mr. Soto,
Aye.
and President Smith-Waddell.
Aye. All right, that brings us to resolution number 51, 2020. Mr. Harris.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Lancaster requesting a multimodal transportation fund grant of $346,950 from the Commonwealth Financing Authority to be used for the Plum Street Roundabout.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Oh, we have a motion and a second. Councilor Soto.
Mr. Campbell, do you have anything else to add? I think this is beneficial. We've waited a year. Let's get her going.
That is correct. I don't think that there's too much more to say about it. It is at the intersection of Plum and New Street Northeast, and it has already proven itself as reducing the speed of traffic, reducing accidents in that particular area, and is a benefit that is consistent with what we're trying to accomplish with the Safe Streets program and the Vision Zero program. The cost, which is $349,000 plus, goes towards some of the engineering and reconfiguration of that intersection so that there's a slightly broader turning radius for automobiles to be able to make and negotiate that intersection properly. But it has already proven itself as a tremendous benefit and a safety implementation.
Okay. Council comments on this matter. Comments from the public. Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Royo.
Aye.
Ms. Beke.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Soto.
Aye.
And President Smith-Waddell.
Aye. All right. I believe that concludes our legislative agenda, and that moves us into our second public comment period. So I'll reiterate some things again. First and foremost, as always, please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Ms. Strazo will be helping you keep time. We ask that you keep, those are the cards. We ask that you keep your comments respectful and coherent. Oh, yes, of course. Please begin by indicating, by indicating your name and the street and block of your residence, and indicating whether you live in Lancaster City. So when I say the street and block, what I mean is if, say, for example, you lived at 947 Virginia Avenue, you might say, my name is Ismail Smith-Waddell and I live on the 900 block of Virginia Avenue, just so you don't have to share your specific address with the whole assembled public. And with that, if you would like to make a public comment at this time, click the little raise hand button. Ms. Strazo, please add Diana to the meeting.
Hello.
Good evening, Diana. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Start with your name and where you live, and then please proceed.
Okay. My name is Diana Rodriguez-Fote. I live at 825 South Locust. And I have a question about the police chief being forced to retire. May I ask? I've never done this before, so please excuse my pauses and my nervousness.
You are just fine, ma'am. So the way that we typically proceed with this, and we won't count my explanation against your time, is that this is a public comment period, and you have the right to make your comment. Again, within the time limit of 3 minutes, you may make a comment, or you may ask a question. And I think that the only point of clarity that I would add is that an answer is not per se required, but if somebody has one that they would like to give, I would never stop them from answering the question. And sometimes just the question is valuable to the public. Does that make sense, ma'am?
Absolutely. Thank you for your clarification. And again, this is the first time I've done this and I'm nervous. So I don't expect an answer. I just want to give input and give a little reminder. I feel invested because I've been praying for Lancaster City and out front of the police station for a little while now. First, I want to cite the First Amendment of free speech. I'm not sure. I can't presume to know the details of why the police chief was forced to retire. But I just want to remind people about the First Amendment. And I also want to remind, even more importantly than that, is there's a verse in the Bible that is Micah 6, verse 8. It says, the Lord has shown what is good, to act with justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly. That's it.
First of, oh, did we lose Diana? Well, I hope. Ma'am, if you're still on the call, thank you for your comment, and thank you for participating in democracy. I know that it was your first time, but thank you for engaging civically, and I hope that it's not your last time. Anybody else who would like to make a public comment? Click the little raise hand button. Oh, a Ms. Robbins. Ms. Drazzo, please add Ms. Robbins to the meeting.
Good evening.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Liberty Street area.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to ask what the mayor or the situation with the police chief, what was the probable cause to create such quick reaction to a hero who has helped us with the last riots and everything? What was the probable cause? That's a legal term to dismiss him. I know they were put in dire straits immediately, basically losing income, possible pension. I want to know what the probable cause of a hired city official who has done his best for us as far as we know. What was the probable cause? And I feel like this is a citizen's concern to know that.
Ms. Robbins, that's a very legitimate question. And unfortunately, what I'll say, and anybody else may comment as they like, I was not privy to the chief's decision to retire, but there is a separation agreement in place wherein the city does not comment on that separation. We of course wish the chief, I at least wish the chief and his family well in wherever they proceed, but do want to reiterate that it was the chief's decision to retire, and that retiring does carry all of the benefits and rights that the chief is entitled to retiring after, I believe it is 26 years of service. But thank you very much for your comment, Ms. Robbins, or your question.
Okay. Yeah, but the other question is, why did this happen right after a Facebook post? Why was there such a reaction? When we are absolutely, every one person's voice, one vote, everyone has a distinct right in this world to speak their voice. The woman, his wife, has a right to speak her opinion over her husband's. This is very important. And to have that kind of a bully situation in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where I thought, of all places, where there should be such freedom to express your opinion, and then to have I'm so infuriated. I'm so infuriated with the politics in this thing. And, I think maybe it's about time the citizenry starts to do something about this. And politics is over our constitutional rights. Forget it. I honestly think we need to stir this up. Don't get cozy in your politics. Don't get cozy in your mindsets. We, the people, have a right to our constitutional rights. And that woman, the wife of the police chief, she had a right to her own personal opinions. And it didn't have to reflect over on her husband or his career. Period. Better pay attention. Like I said, what was the probable cause? You better have a very serious answer for that, because some buttons could be pushed.
Again, Ms. Robbins, I can't comment on that, but thank you again for raising the concern. Anybody else who would like to be heard this evening, step right up and be entitled to your 3 minutes. Oh, there we go. Please add Mr. Rainier to the meeting. Mr. Rainier, you're free to unmute. Oh, there you
Can you
are.
hear me now?
We can. Hey, good evening, Mr. Rainier.
Okay, thank you for the invite. John Leonard Rainier, 322 West Orange Street. I'm a lifelong resident of Lancaster, and I wanted to make my comment. First of all, I want to make disclosure that I am a Republican, a solid Republican, and I wasn't real happy. I'm not real happy for the last few years because of the way the city has been ruled by Democrats, because it's like one party system now. But having said all that, with your new administration came in, I always decide to give the benefit of the doubt. And because you did step up, you're the leaders, you got to make the tough decisions. I'm not going to sit there and you make fun or complain, because I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But I don't think they're doing the same thing to the police department or to the police chief. I just think it's pretty cheap. Lost a lot of respect for you guys, and you basically lost me. And I'm telling you right now, if those people come back that want to burn this city down like they did in the other big cities, keep them downtown and keep them around your area, because I don't want them coming around my area. Because if they do, they're going to have to go back to your area, because if you have merchants and stuff that seem to be, this is okay. It was the police's fault because, they shot a guy who came at him with a knife. I don't want to hear that, because that's just not reality. And I just wanted to close with one last comment to the mayor. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I do remember you saying right after that, and about you were needed help, and that you were going to vomit. If we hadn't, I think somebody asked you if there's going to be the second night. And I just thought those comments were very unprofessional. And I think that you guys and the mayor are the ones that need help, not the police chief, not me. Don't point your fingers at Republicans or anything else. I think you guys, when you go home, you need to look in the mirror and say, I need help, and go get it. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Rainier.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
And you. My apologies. Oh, there we go. Please add Kath or Kathy to the meeting.
Can you hear me?
We can, ma'am.
All right. Thank you for your time, first of all, to you as city council members. My question is concerning the safety of our city in the future.
Hold on, ma'am. Could you just give us your full name and where you live?
Yes, my name is Kathleen Smucker.
Great.
And I live on the east side of the city. And I also have a business downtown.
Ms. Smucker, that's great. So just a note, we did have you, I think, on as calling ahead to make public comment. Just so you're aware, and we won't count my explanation against your time, just so you are aware, if you call ahead to make public comment, you're actually entitled to speak in the first public comment period of the meeting, as opposed to the second general public comment period, though at this stage, it couldn't matter less. Just want to let you know. Please proceed.
Gotcha. Sorry, I missed that somehow. My kid
No
was in
worries.
the background. So my question is concerning the safety of our city in the future. As a current city dweller and also business owner, I've loved our city for many years already, and have loved so many things about the city. So I'm concerned for the safety and the future, as well as just the success of our city. I know for myself and so many other business owners, we've been concerned for the safety of our staff and our guests with the unrest that happened at several occasions over the past months. I've been fortunate to not have experienced any damage on my property, or also my staff and my guests have been safe, but know of other businesses that have not, that have had, things happen to their property, which is very unfortunate. I'd like to know, especially with the chief now being retired, who is responsible for the enforcement of keeping things peaceful downtown in the future, and ensuring our businesses and downtown is safe and continues to flourish. That's my question.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Smucker. I'll hop in there, and if anybody would like to. So currently, the three captains that served underneath the chief of police are working together to ensure that police services continue forward for the city of Lancaster. That's an important public safety role, and I believe that those captains recognize their duty, even and especially in this trying time for them, for example, to maintain patrols, detective work, et cetera, et cetera. So that's who's responsible for that right now. As for the future director of the Bureau of Police, I believe that Mayor Sirachi may have some comment on that in her report of the mayor. Is that correct, Mayor Sirachi? I don't want to. That's correct. So stay tuned.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The door remains open. Please add Sean to the meeting.
Hello.
Hey, good evening.
Hi, my name is Sean, and I do live outside of the city. However, I'm an investor in the city of Lancaster. I have lots of friends in Lancaster City. I just want to say over the last 20 years, the city has just grown so much and improved so much, and there's a lot of good things happening. My concern, though, and that's why I'm on here as an investor and as somebody who does care about the city, is that removing the police chief, and again, I don't know all the details. Obviously, there's a lot of details that haven't been released, and that's okay. There's two sides to every story. I understand that, but there's a couple things I just want to point out and bring to your attention. Obviously, if there is a riot or damage done to a property, I did check with our insurance company, and they do not cover damages done by protesters and rioters. So this is a concern, obviously, to us. And also, as you guys I was watching your meeting, as you guys were going through, excuse me, and some other things that are going on with the city with tenants and helping tenants and landlords. I want to make sure that you understand that if there is damage done, it affects everybody. It doesn't just affect the landlords, it affects the tenants. And this is a serious thing, a concern that I have. I have lots of friends that invest in the city. And there's I would say there's just a cautiousness. We're very cautious about doing work in the city. So I just want to leave you with those thoughts that I think that I'm all for free speech, absolutely, but it's got to be peaceful. It's got to be respectful of all people. Okay, and I understand wanting to make certain points, and I believe me, I listen. I've lost friends over this, but the biggest thing I think is that we have some law. We have and again, removing the police chief was something that just seemed a bit concerning. I will say that. That's all.
Sean, before you go, and thank you for your comment. Our city clerk does need, we just have to keep record of it, a last name and a street of residence, if you don't mind.
I'm not going to be giving my last name, if that's okay.
That's not typically how we proceed, but that's fine, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I'll give you my name. I see everyone shaking their heads. Who is this guy? I'm sorry. My name is Sean Kaufman.
You're fine, Mr. Kaufman. But thank you. Amber? Yep. Hey, good evening.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
Hi, thank you. I just wondered if I needed to be a city resident to ask a question.
So you do not need to be. The relevant law, I love explaining this, the relevant law requires that we make it possible for city residents or persons who pay taxes to the city of Lancaster be allowed to give public comment. That's who we're required by law to allow to give public comment. But ma'am, if you'll start with your name and the street that you live on, and hopefully the municipality, I think we'd all be happy to hear you out.
Thank you. My name is Martha Rausch, and I live on Central Manor Road in Manor Township.
Great.
Thank you. I actually am the person who wrote the Facebook post about attending President Trump's rally. And the chief's wife commented on it in support of President Trump. I didn't see a problem with her comment. Apparently some people did, because it was screenshotted by different people who encouraged others to go to the mayor's office with it. I wanted to read a comment that was online, posted online, and then I would just like to hear the explanation of why you think, or what this person was talking about. They didn't leave their name, so I don't have a name, but here's what the comment says. Chief Whitebread was forced out. His wife's racist comments got him an ultimatum to either retire or get fired. Ismail Smith Waddell was at the protest, and he promised many of us that there would be a police force leadership change, and boy, did he come through. Waddell, Diaz, and Bakay put the smackdown on the mayor, and she agreed to get rid of Berkey. Other terminations and forced retirements will be coming. Mark my word. As a county resident, that really concerns me, because the safety of the city and the integrity of the city affects all of us in Lancaster County. So I would just like to know how you can explain that comment that an anonymous person posted.
Yeah, ma'am, I'm actually really happy to address that. So having seen said comment, which appears which appears on LIP News, first of all, I categorically reject the notion of that comment, not just because the claims in it are inaccurate and allege things that never happened, or attribute to me things that I never said. But I think that it's well established that I have genuinely strong feelings about policing and public safety that not everybody shares. But I have lived as a city resident and as a young African-American person in Lancaster my entire life, and lived through several chiefs of police. And I can say explicitly that Chief Berkeyheiser was the chief of police with which I had the best relationship and was most able to communicate. And we were able to have conversations. And sometimes those conversations were tense, but our ability to have conversations, I think, on more than one occasion during the protest downtown helped both of us to keep people safe. So I don't feel, Ms. or Mrs. Roush, that I can explain random comments on independent news blogs, but I can tell you my relationship to what has gone on, and that's it. No smackdown, whatever exactly, I'm not really familiar what that means outside of a professional wrestling context, was placed on the mayor. And here's the thing at the end of the day. The agreement is such that we're not going to discuss the details of the chief's retirement. He retired after 26 years of service, which is almost all of my life here in Lancaster City, and retired with all the rights, benefits, and privileges that retiring after that time entitles him to. He and or his wife and you, of course, ma'am, are free to make whatever comments or share whatever, sort of details or suppositions you or any of them like. But we're not going to do that because of our respect for the agreement. And as a previous commenter did say, the law of the agreement that was signed on to by the city. And I think I have to stop because now I've been talking for more than 3 minutes. So.
Thank you. I appreciate your response.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. President, can I make a comment, please?
Of course, ma'am. Councilor Diaz, sorry about that.
I just would like to say, first of all, I don't know of talking or knowing who this person that made comments, but I can say that my relationship with the chief was always cordial and friendly. I have never have seen him disrespect me or have had anything that I would say derogatory in any way. He was a very good person that I talked to when there was issues and that I can feel comfortable to speak to him. In regards to his retirement, I know the same thing as everybody out there in the public that he retired. That is all the details that I know. And as of right now, I wish him the best and hope that him and his family are well.
I am muted. I just realized that. I have a sneaking suspicion that that phone number is Mr. Dastra. I could be wrong, but please add that phone number to the meeting.
Hi, it's Tony Dastra on the 700 block of New Holland Avenue. How's everybody doing?
Hey, good evening, Tony. I think we're doing okay. Please proceed.
All right, so I just wanted to, there's been enough comments on one side of this that I feel the need to put my opinion out there. Why not at this point? But I just want to say this, like, I am a city resident. Not only that, I am a property tax payer. So it's in one regard frustrating for me to hear such pervasive comments directed at my municipality when there may or may not be. I understand if there's investments potentially in the area, it's also your neighborhood. You guys are part of our community. It's frustrating though, because I want to, like, these same voices, I'm kind of over here going, well, come on, just merge with us. Just join the city. Come on. But this change for me, I'm not freaked out by it. And furthermore, to reiterate what my city council said, the rights entitled with retirement, like, this is by no means a firing, like forced removal, rejection of the harshest form. This is very reasonable. And quite frankly, I would hope that my local government could negotiate changes in their structure like this if there is disagreement. I'm looking forward to seeing sorts of changes in my community. This doesn't frighten me at all, and I don't think anybody should be panicked. This is not as frightening as some people make it out to be. That is all.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Dastra. If there are more public comments. All right, hearing none. We now move to the report of the mayor. Mayor Sirachi, please.
Good evening, councilors. Thank you very much. I will comment briefly about the questions related to the chief's retirement and search process. So just to reiterate, Captain Stebbins, Umstead and Winters assumed all the duties of the chief. They have been working together for a very, very long time and often assume duties and responsibilities of the chief in his absence, and that will continue. The chief of fire, Scott Little, is serving as a public safety liaison to the executive leadership team and also meets regularly with the captains. I have shared with each of you as council members a draft process for a search for a new chief, including the possibility of an interim chief. I look forward to receiving additional feedback. I have received feedback from several of you, and I thank you for that in advance. And others of you, please feel free to send along your comments. The community working group, which continues to meet weekly, will also be invited to provide input into that search process, as well as members of the police bureau. And as you know, that the Community Police Working Group will be bringing a report on the strategic plan, which has 4 strategic priorities, of which one of them is recruitment and hiring. I do want to note that now that we are almost halfway through October already, we are in the thick of our budget season and are getting a clearer picture of revenues to date, which will help us determine, where we are in terms of our spending as we enter in. Now we are in the final quarter of 2020, and the extent to which we will be utilizing the $3 million in prior year reserves to cover the budget expenses in 2020. We have been working very, very diligently to address the structural deficit for over these past 2 years, knowing the precariousness of the city's fiscal outlook, and that was even before COVID. And so staff are digging in and working through all of their line items, literally. And we are clear-eyed about our challenges, which are not that different from other years. You just have to compound them with COVID, which is rising medical insurance costs, pensions, and our debt obligations. And so I look forward to presenting to you my budget address the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, as is stipulated in the municipal code, and to our budget hearings that will be chaired by Councilor Bakay the first Saturday in December. And I am looking forward also to and appreciate the work that Mr. Campbell has put into the cost savings measures that the Department of Public Works has taken on quite vigorously and with imagination and ingenuity. And so we are looking forward to bringing all of that work to council for your review next month. And I just wanted to give you a quick status update regarding the budget preparations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. That, I believe, brings us to my report. I don't have one, so I will open it up for council comments. All right. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.